Welcome to the Dad's Corner, where fathers unite and stand strong against the challenges that life throws our way.
Here, we celebrate the victories, learn from the defeats, and support each other through every step of this incredible journey.
Father, please grant me the strength to withstand the shots and shooting like Teflon. Running through these obstacles, all the opposition gets stepped on. Dedicated to the mission, steadfast in my commitment, and I'm standing on business. Do you whip on the way? All the time, the enemy crossed the line. Trying in my head, but I'm of sound mind. This is by design, putting it all on the line. I will lift my hands, I get down, I get down, I get down for mine. Hit like Father Time, yeah, I get down for mine. Go hard like Father Time, yeah, I get down for mine. Hit like Father Time, yeah, I get down for mine. Go hard like Father Time, yeah, I get down for mine. Hit like Father Time, yeah, I get down for mine. Go hard like Father Time, yeah, I get down for mine. Hit like Father Time, yeah, I get down for mine. Go hard like Father Time, yeah.
So, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's the Dad's Corner, man. Dude, I love that song, man. I freaking love this song.
Who did it? Who did it?
I know the guy.
Is he good? Is he a good dude?
He's a real good dude. Real
Is he?
good dude.
Is he
Down to earth.
obviously gifted?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's his voice on there.
That's him.
He made it and made it.
I'm him.
That's him.
I'm him.
He's the one that did it.
So, man, how you feeling today, Jayson?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. We just got through. Olympics are finished up. Everybody's back home. Want to talk a little bit about some of the Olympic stuff.
Okay.
I want to get your opinion. This is not dad related. This part right here, but I want to get your opinion on it. So I know how big of a LeBron fan you are.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with that. He got the MVP of the Olympics for basketball. Agree or disagree with that? I'll give you my take later. You
So
go from
was
there.
it just for basketball, or he got the MVP? Like,
It was just for basketball. So they did like an all. They did a. I don't even know what it's called. An all, not NBA team, but they did a all first team Olympic, and so it was LeBron, Curry, the Joker, Schroeder, and I can't think of who the fifth one was. Oh, Wemby. And then LeBron got the MVP of the Olympic, like of basketball.
USA.
Not of just USA, like of the. I mean, obviously we won it, so
Yeah,
he's gonna
so-
go in there. But he got the he won it.
So here's the thing: greatest player in the world. And yes, I believe that. I keep saying, here's the thing, like Kevin Hart.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. Listen, greatest player in the world, MVP, probably his last Olympic.
Got it right.
Probably his last Olympics, I would think.
He would be if he stayed. He'd be 40. I think 44 at the next Olympics.
And so, when I take that into consideration, I think that it's kind of like a nod to his success and everything that he's done, and he put on a pretty good show. Like he did work out in the Olympics. Like,
Here's what I'll say about it, because I'm a huge non-LeBron fan.
I know it,
right?
I know that.
But I'll say this: everybody was a little upset that it wasn't Curry. Curry had two final games that were just magnificent displays of
a golden dagger.
I mean, just the incredible. LeBron had the most complete turn. Like he from groups play all the way through. He had the complete tournament. So I didn't disagree with it at all. Did you watch a lot of the Olympics?
Watched up a lot of the Olympics. Like
I watched. What's your favorite? What's your favorite to watch? And basketball out of it. I can't pick
I
basketball.
wasn't gonna pick basketball.
Well, good, because you can't, because it's out.
Like I really enjoy the track and field stuff.
Okay.
I told you I did high jump, so I enjoyed watching high jump. I love the races, like the
What's up with our men's
4x4.
Yes. What's up? Because this is now, I think Michael Johnson. Carl Lewis was super pissed about it. He said we've got to revamp the entire program. Because I think this is the third Olympics in a row where on the 4x4 we dropped or had awful handoffs and didn't. And we were disqualified this year.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I was thoroughly entertained by the individual runs, but like you're right,
and all of them did wonderful in their individual stuff.
You're right. It's we were projected to win, like to win.
Oh yeah,
and
I don't know if we can put it in there. I hope we can. We'll see if we can get it clipped in there. But they interviewed the team afterwards, and that. The analyst or the broadcaster was trying so hard to get them to turn on each other. If you get a chance, watch it. He said, what was the problem? And then the guy was like, we just wasn't our day. And he kind of rambled on. And then the announcer said, well, was it, I think it was King. He said, well, was it King's fault? Did he leave too early? And he was just like, nah, we just didn't. He goes, well, what was it? Did you not catch up to him? Like he just kept pressing. And the guy was like, no, we just didn't perform. It just wasn't our day. And he was like, well, come on, you got to give me something. Like, whose fault was it? And the guy, he refused to let them separate the team. He refused. And I noticed it. It was so blatant that I noticed it. That I was sitting there going, let it go, man.
I enjoy watching, like, women's track, though.
Yeah.
Because they're freaking good.
Oh, dude.
They're so good.
So fast.
They're so good. What's your favorite Olympic?
Man, so I enjoy watching the shot put because I didn't realize until I started looking up how far they're throwing it. So the ball, it's 16 pounds, and they're throwing it 22 meters, which is 70-ish, a little over 70 feet, that they're throwing 16 pounds.
That's pretty crazy.
There's also, and so the guy who won it, the USA, he is actually a coach here at the U of A.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's on the track and field
Our track and field squad is
best in the country.
Hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
So he's local. I like the shot put. I saw one thing I've never seen before, and it also made me just realize how much money goes into making the Olympics even happen. They had a kayak course. So they had rapids like built in, and these guys had to like go around these obstacles and things like that. And I think there was one other sport, and I don't even know the name of it, but it's a toxic trait of mine to see something at the Olympics and think, I could probably do that.
Yeah.
I saw this. It was like basketball, but it wasn't basketball. It was like, maybe it was called handball.
Oh, handball. No. Was it handball? Handball is a crazy sport. It's like dodgeball, but like
you go down the court, you don't dribble, you throw it, and then you have to throw it in.
And yeah.
And I was thinking
handball and water polo. Now
water polo,
I couldn't do water polo.
Well, obviously,
I couldn't do water polo.
I watched the guys swimming around. The goalie would have to be the hardest one. Because while they're down there, you get to hold on to the goal a little bit, right? But then when they come towards you, you got to get in the middle, and you're just swimming.
Bro, they had to do like, what was it, like penalty shots or something like that at the end of one, and just everybody's unloading on this dude. Like, it's crazy.
It's like, congratulations, you're making on the guy.
Lots of new games.
Yeah.
How about breakdance?
Let's talk about it. I'm moving to Australia. I'm pretty sure if this room was a little bit bigger, I'd give it a go right now. And I think I would qualify. I've never seen one person worldly dissed like that.
It's horrible.
Like that breakdancer. They said, alligator crunch. Oh, man.
No, but I did get the call to be, I got selected for the Olympics dominoes team. So I'll be playing dominoes, slamming bones for the Olympic team.
I mean, you're staying right in the lanes, aren't you? Just dominoes. You can't do the water polo.
No.
See, I don't know if you know me, but I'll play some dominoes with you, bud.
I mean, I'm just saying, bro. Like so it's style points. You have to be able to talk a little mess, and
it's legit a thing. I thought you were joking.
No, I am.
I was about to say that's amazing.
I am joking.
Okay. That joke?
Oh, gosh.
I was like, dude, that's impressive. Let's go. Yeah. Like, you don't have to have any athletics.
They're going to do it right after the breakdancing.
Dude.
No,
breakdancing will be back.
That was crazy. No, but there was some really cool father-child child moments. There was a swimmer who didn't medal, and she was torn up about it, and you get to see her dad right there consoling her, and he's telling her like, well, you're a champion, like, and he pulls out his phone and he's looking through and he's like telling her, and he starts reading this thing. He's like, everybody back home, they're calling you a champion, like they're saying that you're their hero.
Dude,
all this
so
stuff.
awesome.
And she's just like, she's crying, and then he hugs her, and that's huge. There was a reporter for a U.S. swimmer, like, and he got the report on his daughter. Oh,
that's awesome.
So super cool.
There was the girl for hours. I think her last name was Dunn or Nunn. Might be neither one. All that round. She was doing the heptathlon, 7 events, and it got to the 800. That was the last event. She needed to win by like something crazy to get to the podium. She needed to win by like 10 seconds, which in running is it's so far.
Yeah.
She ends up winning by like 6 seconds. I mean, she killed it. Like, that's her event. So I think she got 5th place in the overall. And so she goes over to her family and she's crying, and I think she apologized and was like, I'm sorry. And her family's like, are you kidding me? Like, we're in Paris right now because of you. You're an Olympian. You might not be on that podium, but you're an Olympian.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. And our girl basketball team set the record for most consecutive medals in a team event, men and women's. And then they continue to set the mark for consecutive golds. So they have 8 golds in a row. So our basketball team, yeah. And that game was crazy. Did you see the end of it?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
When that France girl made the last shot, I thought, no, my God, we're going to overtime. We went to overtime. I didn't feel confident.
Oh my gosh, crazy. But no, it reminded me of like, and at this point, now that we're doing a show, like, I think of everything from a dad lens too. And I was reminded of the track and field situation. I can't think of the guy's name. Maybe Donovan or something like that. Either way, he's running. He had won. He was like, had the fastest time in the first heat. Mm-hmm. Come in for the final heat, and he runs, and on the home stretch, he pulls a hamstring. And his dad runs out the crowd and runs over there to him.
Oh yeah, and they're trying to tell the dad to get off, and the dad's like, nah.
And he walks with his son to the finish line.
Son's like crying.
Yeah, and man, it's that type of stuff. That's the thing that I think defines the way that we feel as a dad. Like, is like, we will run through a wall, jump through hoops, whatever we have to do. Run through and jump off of the ledge onto the track to carry you over the finish line.
Well, he also said you're gonna finish. Like,
you're gonna finish.
You're gonna finish.
Real talk.
You know? Like, you're gonna like you trained your whole life. This is unfortunate, but you're gonna finish.
Real talk.
Like, I'm gonna, even if I gotta carry you, you're gonna finish. I remember that. I've watched that so many times and thought. But my favorite part of it is when they, like, it's not security, but it's some event staff is like trying to get him. He's like, go, like, this is my son. Like, you're gonna have to carry us both off of this track. If you don't want me on here, that's fine. But we're gonna have to fight me right here on this thing. So it's like, it was such a cool moment just because it was. As a dad, now you're like, I would do that.
Straight up, 100%.
Like, I would do that. So
100%.
It was awesome.
I loved watching all of those games, and I really enjoy, the parents being in the stands watching their children excel at something, and to watch the discipline, the things that they have watched their children do to get to this level, to become an Olympian, and they're just in the stands so proud. And so it's really cool. I think that's kind of what led to kind of what we're talking about today.
Yep.
What have you learned from your kids? What can you learn from your kids?
What brought that up too is not a proud moment for me as a dad. So, and now that we started doing the podcast, I catch myself, like you said, noticing dad moments. I also catch myself going, I should say that we should talk about that. Like, that's something we should talk about.
Sure.
But then there's times where I do something boneheaded, and I'm like, man, we should talk about that. But, like, I don't want to talk about it because I want to be putting myself And I'm putting myself out there as mistakes I made, but we bought some land a while back, some hunting land, and my son he wants to go camping. He thinks staying in that camper would be the coolest thing in the whole world. He saw me going one time and he said, I want to go. Right before school started, I said, all right, let's go. So we load up, we take everything down there, and I realized, like, when it's just me and him, like, I got to set everything up.
Yeah.
Like, I got to do it all.
Yeah, for sure.
And, like, at least when Casey's there, it's like she can help, or she can at least keep them entertained while I'm setting up. And it was one of the first moments where I thought, it's a pop-up camper. Like, I'm going to have to do every single bit of it by myself. When we need to eat, I'm going to be cooking every single meal. When we need to get, like, we're in the middle of the woods for 3 days. So I'm like, whenever he needs to go to the bathroom, like, I'm going to have to be the one to set up a makeshift toilet. And, like, I'm going to have to do it all. And so it was 100. It was the hottest 3 days of this year so far. So it was 100, 101 with a heat index of like 108. So there's stuff we're also trying to get accomplished while we're there, but it was supposed to be just a guy's trip, just a buddy.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it, son. So we get out there, and by like the first day, I'm just agitated, like stuff didn't set up with the camper right, or, stuff didn't do this. And so I felt myself just being on edge. And like, I completely, like, Coach said something to me, like, hey, Dad, can we do this? Dad, can we do, like, just, nonstop. So by like the second day, I like snapped one time. And I was like, can you just, and I like just unloaded. And like, as soon as I did, I could see it in his face. And I immediately was like, felt like this small. Like, I immediately was like, really? Like, he's 4. And, he wanted you to look at something. He wanted you to do something. Like, it was something so minor. Took 5 seconds to look and then get back to whatever I was doing. But it was like, in my mind, I had set up that I had to do this and get all this done and finish this. And, like, I completely negated the one reason I was there. Was to just kick it with him. Even if I didn't get the stuff done that I needed to get done, I should have been hanging out with him. And so he like looked like defeated, and so he kind of like he just stood there, and then he kind of like walked around, and I mean I just felt crushed. And then I'm having like a conversation with myself, like, "Are you happy? Like, you happy with yourself there?" Like, but it was like 5 minutes later, I said something to him, and it was like it never happened. Yeah. And so I noticed that, like, I joke about kids and dogs being the same, but it was like I noticed that one thing that he at 4 years old taught me was like, forgive and forget. Like, even though his memory's so short, he did forget about it. It was like he still came up to me like that dog that you may yell at and kick and go on, but 5 minutes later, if you call that dog over to you, they'll come love, lick on you, Yeah. And I sat there and thought to myself, like, he just taught me, like, to forgive people, and like there's nothing really too big that somebody can do to you that you can't get past. And so, but he just at such a young age, it was just crazy for him I just yelled at him for no reason. And I apologized to him, and he looked at me and goes, "It's okay, Dad." And we just went on like it never happened. And I thought, that's incredible. Like, he means it's okay, Dad, and he means it.
Yeah.
And, like, we moved on. Like, it never happened. He never brought it up. He never said anything. But I'm like, I'm not going to have forever to do that. Like, there's going to come a time when he gets older where when you act like that or you do stuff like that, they remember it. And it starts to be like a pattern, you know what I mean? And so, way harder on myself than I needed to be about it. But I also thought it was a good reminder of, like, this is one of your opportunities. Like, when you look back, I heard a guy say one time, he said, when you're getting ready to explode or you're mad about something, he said, imagine you're 80 or 90 years old and you get one chance in your life, you meet a time traveler, they give you one chance to go back in time, and this is the moment. You don't get to pick it, they do. They pick this moment. How are you going to act? When you come back to it, how are you going to feel? Did you handle it the way you should have, or did you not? And so it was one of those where I was like, man, if I came back to that moment, I'd be real disappointed in myself.
Dude, that brings up some things. I mean, social media is pretty crazy. Like, there's a lot of stuff out there on social media, and I didn't mean to turn it this way, but like, I've seen some things where fathers, man, they don't have emotional intelligence or emotional sensitivity in certain senses, and they lash out at their kids, and because their kids are crying and don't have emotional intelligence themselves. And so I think that's to really reflect on that and to look back. And I think that will help us to be mindful of those situations, because bro, like, yeah, we're always trying to get something done. I find myself sometimes like, they'll be asking me to do something and I'm more focused on what I'm doing other than that. So I'm bringing that up because you're like, it's kind of bad on my behalf. Like, it's not as bad as it could be because of who you are and that you have that reflection.
But it was such a great moment because, so it's so hot. I brought all this food to cook, but it was just too hot to sit there and make a fire. It was just so hot. So we went into town. It's like a 30-minute drive, 20-minute drive. We go into town, we eat, we come back. Keep in mind, even though it's like 6, 7 o'clock, it is still hot. So hot. And he's like, Dad, I just thought of a game we could play. I was like, okay. He was like, I need you to get all those rocks right there, and it's these big river rocks. He was like, I want to build us a game. So for the next hour and a half, him and I would pick up ones that were like this. He would get ones like this. We stacked them. We stood up sticks. We took pink flagging tape, made this entire game out of it. And I was thinking, what are we doing? And he got ready, and we finally got it done, sweating my butt off. And he like shows me how you score in this game that he's completely making up as he goes.
Yeah.
And he goes, all right, Dad, we did it. I was like, all right, we're done. He goes, we got to score 14 times. And I thought to myself, 14? Like, we're doing 8? Gonna do 8? And he was like, no, we got to do 14. So for the next 30, it was like 35 minutes. We would fake a pass. He would score. And if he missed, start over. We played it, and I'm thinking, I remember in that time being like, I don't want to do this. It's so effing hot. I just want to sit down and drink water and like hang out. But it's like, I'm not bored. Like, that's boring. I don't want to sit, he doesn't want to sit down. It's like, this is what we're out here for. And so it was a nice change of, and he had an amazing time. It was like the best trip of his life, he said. He loved it. But I remember that one. I remember snapping, and then I remember immediately being like, what am I doing? So what's something that your kids have taught you?
So first, what you're saying, that's really cool. It's really cool, bro. Like, and my son is kind of the same way. My daughter's the same way. Like, so really, it's like their curiosity. They're so curious about things. And I think that it's important that we always remain curious about just, that idea of question everything, and don't just do stuff just because that's how it's always been done. But being curious, I find myself seeing, and really I'm thinking about Dex, but as I'm saying that, I can see Tyler doing it. I see all of them being extremely curious. He wants to know what everything is. He's 7. So right now he can access a bunch of stuff. He can see stuff. He's, involved with all these things. And so he wants to know how everything works. He wants to know if I know how to do whatever it is. So he got this drone for his birthday.
Okay.
We've been messing with this drone, and I went out and he's really creative too. So like creative and curious and all these different things mixed together. So he's we're trying to figure out this thing, and I'm trying to avoid doing this follow me thing on this drone. Because it will, like, you can press this button and it'll follow you. So I'm like, well, let me test it out. And so I really don't even know how it works. He's like, Dad, you can figure it out. So I click on it, and I'm walking this drone, and I do something, and I get this drone stuck in the tree. And I think that like bad, because it's got like some little clips on the propellers like this, and so the tree is like stuck off in it, really bad. And it's way up there too. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I thought he was going to lose it. So I love seeing his maturity as well. Like, he didn't lose it, but he helped me figure out how we're going to get this down. So I was throwing stuff at it and all these things. And
mess around and break the drone.
Well, that's what I was afraid of. And I had this basketball, and I'm throwing it. And the way that I'm throwing it, I'm getting it more caught on the limb. And he's like, he's like, Dad, you need to throw it from this side. And I'm like, no. And then I start thinking, like, you're absolutely right. I really do. And so I threw it from that side and threw it a few times and finally got it to come off of there. And I was just thinking about his problem solving, creativity, and that curiosity to think about what it is that we're doing. It's just really cool. And I think that we can all see the wheels turning in these kids. Like what you were saying with Cope, like, that's creative.
Yeah.
It's extremely creative. And it's outside the box thinking. And I think that's like, those are some of the biggest lessons that I've taken from it. As we were kind of discussing this idea of this topic, I found several instances, several things that I've learned from my kids. But I think being curious is such an important thing.
Yeah.
It's such an important thing. And at first I was thinking like, well, probably Common Core math. Like they try to tell me how to do math.
Yeah.
Like 2 + 2 is 4, son. No, but I think that is probably the biggest thing. The finding the question, like questioning everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because that's how it's always been done, but like really because you want to understand. And I think that's really cool. Him seeking to understand, my daughter seeking to understand certain things and nuances, why this is that, is super powerful.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's why with the game that Cope created, it was a football. And we were literally throwing the football back and forth, and he was immediately like, "I got a game." And I was like, "Okay, well, we were kind of playing one already. Just that's football. We're just throwing it." And every time we go out to play basketball, it's like, all right, it's gonna be me and you versus mom and sis. I'm like, what if we just shoot? Like it's a game. It's always got to be a game. It can't ever. If you're just throwing the football back and forth, or you're just shooting, he's bored.
Yeah, so I feel that.
But he's like, but if it's a competition, and it's like it's a game, he's locked in. So he's like, all right, well then it's you and mom versus me and sis. And I'm like, I'm throwing every shot I'm throwing them up on the roof. Like you're not gonna get a shot off. You need me or mom on your team.
Yeah.
But it's funny because if I'm like, let's just shoot, and he goes, let's do this for a minute, then we'll shoot. And I know good and well, as soon as we get done with this, he's gonna be like, I want to do something else. So, but yeah, it was cool because we even videoed it. We sent it to Casey. I was like, well, Cope didn't think it was too hot. We've stacked, I think it was like 20 something river rocks with sticks and then walked around with flagging tape to make a goal. And the only way to go, and he had to like roll the football after he caught it twice. Well, then we get closer and closer to 14, and he's like running from fake defenders. Now there's defenders on the field, and I'm like, what are we doing? Throw me the ball. And he's like, hold on, Dad. Oh goodness, you're getting it. And he just launches it in the air, and I'm like,
that's cool.
Now looking back, I was sitting here in this AC. I'm like, that's pretty fun.
That's cool, man.
It was a good.
That's cool. I think that definitely the creative things is huge.
Yeah.
Like I love seeing that creativity. I love it.
Yeah.
I tell you another thing that I learned from the kids is being sometimes brutally honest. I mean,
hurt your feelings.
Honesty.
Yep.
Is always the best policy, but like sometimes you want them to kind of dumb it down. Like don't go all the way.
Yeah.
But my oldest daughter, Anaya, when she was younger, I'm telling you, bro, she would let people have it. And not intentionally like letting them have it, but
saying what's on her mind.
Yeah, but like you're old. Talking to you're fat. Yes. I mean, just really brutally honest, and like I can appreciate that. Not the fat old thing, but she would let people know about how they are. And I can't think of like a exact instance, but she would go further than just you're fat or you're old. Like she would go in a little bit. But I think that children are really honest. And it's because they don't have the perspective of like feelings of like dampening something.
Yeah.
Of being dull, and sugarcoating. And so I can appreciate
But I
that.
respect it.
I do
almost
too.
to an extent, the world would be so much easier not only better, but easier if people were just honest.
Well, we get so many people that will what I call blow smoke. You know, like they'll pat you on your back and then with the other hand be stabbing you at the same time.
Yeah, but then on the other side, you have people who are so sensitive you can't say anything.
Yeah.
Without hurting their feelings, and so I respect the honesty too, because when kids say it, when they say it, you know, to somebody, and I can see it happening. Cope has done it before. Like, I can see his mind. We're at Walmart checking out. He's in the shopping cart. Sissy's in the shopping cart. I got him by myself. A lady walks up, right? I can tell she's bigger, and I can tell he's thinking who he knows that kind of looks like that. And I can see him looking at her to say it. Now, granted, when he says it, she's not going to know who this person is.
Yeah.
And I can make up whatever I want, but I don't want him to go farther. I don't want him to say, well, they're both big. You know, I just need the adjectives to stop. And so I'm cutting him off. Every time he goes to speak, I'm like, you want something? You want a piece of candy? You want a drink? Come here, bud. You love me? I love you. And but every time he goes, yeah. She looks like, I'm like, oh God, here it comes. And he finally says it. She looks like Miss So-and-so. And then I'm thinking, how's this lady going to react? And the lady was like, oh, is that? I'm like, oh yeah, that's one of our friends. And like, I stopped it at that, but I could tell he was like, well, not, she's fat. That's not that. And I'm like, you gotta, like, sometimes they'll see just an older person and they'll immediately think, like my mom or Casey's friend, like they'll immediately think older person, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that looks like Grammy, oh that looks like Gaga, and it's like just this old lady, and I'm like, your grandmas are actually kind of young, like they don't look like her at all. Don't tell them that that's who they look like. So it's just funny. I love it. I respect it so much. There's so many times where I want to be that honest, but you just you can't be. So
I think another thing is being in the moment. So what you were talking about with Cope, I've seen it with my children. Even in this one, I see it with like my baby boy. It's just the desire and the willingness to be just right there in the moment, to enjoy what they're doing right then. And they enjoy it to the fullest. Like, I'll be bouncing him, and that's all that he wants to do. My son, like, if we're swimming, like, he's in there, he's diving in, he's flipping, he's
throw me.
I mean, all of it. You know, and so Tylen, like, she enjoys to be immersed in whatever she's doing. I think that is another thing, and I had a few idea. Like I said, I thought about this. So there's several things: curiosity, creativity, problem solving. Like I don't know if that's something that I've learned from them, but I just like watching them problem solve.
Yeah.
Being in the moment, and then what did I say? What was the last one I said? Yeah, those.
Well, yeah, mine is, I mean, forgiving, and then like Colin has taught me how if somebody in the room is upset, like Colin is stubborn, and she is tough, and she is, you know, to the point, and she's amazing, but she is also, if somebody's upset, she wants to let you know it's okay. Yeah. Like if a friend's upset, and so like compassion, because there's a lot of times like just you want to be rough and you want to be tough, and but there's also that even with Cope, where I need to show like more compassion and more, they're kids, you know, and so between, you know, Cope, just forgiveness, and when you mess up, he's like, don't worry about it, you know, it's like, man, I need to do that. When somebody wrongs me, I need to, don't worry about it. You know, there's so many times where somebody will do something and you're like, I'm mad at that person, I'm done. And it's like, well, you have a hardened heart. Yeah. You know, forgive and forget. And people say, well, I can forgive, but I can't forget. Well, then you haven't forgiven.
That's right.
And so it's like, you pair that with like Colin's compassion. And I'm like, they're going to turn me into a softie. You know, like,
it's good, man. It's good. As we're getting older, we gotta let go of some of those.
I did last week. You know.
Yeah.
Didn't fight.
Straight up. You know? Straight up. Just I appreciate all the love and the comments.
Sure.
from last week's episode. And I want you to do the same this week. Like, what have you learned from your kids? The other one was honesty. What have you learned from your kids? What can we continue? What can we learn from the kids? You know, can you teach an old dog new tricks?
Yeah.
You know, I think this is a really good topic, really good idea. I think that it's important that we seek to learn from our kids too.
Yeah.
That we look at them and watch the things that they do and find a lesson in what they're doing. Because ultimately, we can learn something from everybody. Why wouldn't you want to learn something from the littler version of you?
Yeah. The smaller person who you are, that you created.
Yeah.
So.
And maybe you'll learn about the reflection of you, because they're probably mirroring things that you do.
Well,
so maybe you can learn about yourself.
If you watch them and you're and I've noticed this, if there's something that they're doing, and again, this is kind of like it goes back to me, you know, snapping. I've seen Cope do that to Colin. Like, if she's annoying him, be like, Sissy, I told you to stop. And I thought to myself, like, oh, he's reacting like that because I've reacted like that. And so it's crazy if you get mad at something they're doing and want to check the mirror, because it may be something that you're
100%
you're doing yourself. So I'm gonna let you think of a dad joke real quick, if you got one.
Yeah, do you want to say something?
I do, real quick. So we are going to have a guest on. This is episode 6. So either episode 7 or 8, we are going to have our first guest. Super excited about it. Not going to tell you who it is just yet, but he already knows about it. He's ready. So it'll be fun to kind of bring somebody in here with us, get it set up. We're going to have guests occasionally. We've got a bunch of guys that we've already thought of that we want to have on, so we're going to start having people on. Again, with your sponsorships, if anybody wants to sponsor an episode, don't hesitate to reach out to Tony or myself. It's honestly very inexpensive. All that we ask is that you give us a shirt, a cup, hat, something that we can wear and also promote your business. But we're having a great time. I don't see this ending anytime soon, and this is episode 6 to forever. So
yeah, it's fun. So my uncle recently got fired from the bank.
What'd he do?
Man, he pushed this old lady over.
Oh,
like, I'm talking about full-fledged shoved her, and I was like, Uncle, why'd you do that? He said, well, she asked me to check her balance. You can't do that.
You just
you
can't
do that.
You know, dadgummit. Man. Well, on that note, shut the dang door.
Shut the dang door.
See y'all. Love you.